joining us today. We've got messages. Thank you for joining us today. We greatly appreciate your time. This is the MSP Revenue Playbook. Is your first time or you're returning? Thank you. I'm Adam Nelson. I'm the CMO for Sibyl Consulting Group, and more importantly, I'm your host for today. So if you have any questions, please use the chat window. We've got monitors. We're monitoring it 100% of the time, so we'll be able to read what's going on. We also have a poll at the end of this webinar that we would like you to answer. It helps us be better webinars, if that's a word. So the MSP Revenue Playbook, it is a webinar series, and it is designed to help boost your revenue through strategies and innovative tools, ultimately transforming how you generate leads and close sales. This is a multi-series webinar, so of course, if you've not watched any of the previous ones, please go back and watch them because each one of them builds on the next. This is a panel style webinar, and this particular webinar is actually called Automation Power Up. Whenever I say power up, I think of Mario hitting the mushroom and he's powering up. So that is what we are doing today. We are powering up, scaling your sales with smart workflows. It's all about boosting sales productivity with smart workflows and automation with task emails and approvals. So it's going to be a great time. We have two people as our panelists today. Our first one up is Nancy Henriquez. She is the CEO of Sibyl Consulting Group. She is known for building, running, and executing two successful MSPs. She's also known, and she has spoke all over the country in various locations and various conferences throughout. In some circles, she's known as her small stature, but big personality. So, and you know what? And I know her as a friend, so I enjoy that. And then we have Nelson Anthony joining us today, who was recently promoted to sales director at Zomentum. So congratulations, Nelson. That is a big step, and we are excited for you on that. He has over 12 years of experience driving revenue in the SaaS world. Nelson is a results-driven enterprise sales leader. He is actually known for exceeding revenue targets and closing high-value deals over $1 million. So, Nelson, I want you on my sales team. That's what I want. Like that would be it. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump right into it. I am going to switch over here so we can see each other talk, which would be great. Nelson and Nancy, how are you guys doing today?
Doing good, doing good. Adam, I love the intro, but thanks for giving my height away. Usually people can't tell how small I am virtually.
And thanks for the intro again, Adam. That was so kind of you, right? But yeah, I mean, if given a chance, yeah, I'd love to work with you.
Most definitely. Well, listen, we have some people that logged on today and they want to know about workflow. So I do have a question. If somebody wants to drop it in the chat and wants to give a little bit of feedback, I would love to know what kind of workflows you're doing and if you're doing any at all. Just automated workflows, I guess I should say. Just put it in the chat so we can see everything in there. Well, okay, let's start off. Nancy, let's start off with a hardball for you, just right out of the bat. Are you ready?
Ready.
How can sales teams, especially small ones, okay? So let's dial into the smaller ones. How can they identify tasks that are the best candidates for automation, and they can get the most impact out of it?
Oh, that is a hard ball. But what I'm going to say is, so I have run small and large sales teams, and regardless of the size, really what it comes down to is what are some of the repetitive tasks that you can implement immediately, get out of the way, save some time in that aspect. But the key thing that you said is the most impact, right? And so that is where, when it comes to setting up these automations, even if they are repetitive tasks, we can't lose sight of the fact that we are building relationships across any of these platforms that we're utilizing with people. And so the tasks that we want to automate are what are the lead generation aspects of it. It's the initial follow-ups. It's the things that we need in order to keep us consistent. But we have to be very careful with that, because what we don't want to do is automate the things that would develop the relationships. And so, although like the initial follow-ups may be a great place to start, if there's any answers or any responses, anything like that, that is where the person needs to then pick it up and take it from there. Automation can't do that for you. So I would say repetitive tasks for sure. Anything that is leading to the conversations. But once the conversations start, a person should take it from there.
Okay. All right. On that same vein, Nelson, can you give us, can you walk us through a basic if-then rule that has a high return for investment for most sales teams?
Yeah, so I speak to about 5 or 6 MSPs on a daily basis. Like, these are all unique MSPs, right? Now, there's a lot of questions that come up as to how does automation help me, like, as an MSP, right? Now, if you talk about if-then automation or if-then rule, like, for example, if a lead opens a quote but doesn't sign that within 48 hours, like, so we have this basic reminders that goes out of Zomentum, like also something like a follow-up email that goes out saying that, hey, the quote is sent out, right? Why don't you just open it? Like, why don't you just have a look at it, right? See, in Zomentum, it basically takes about two clicks, like in our workflow builder. Choose your trigger, like, when you say, let's say a quote is viewed, then your actions come through. Like, what do you want the actions to be triggered? Like, either is that an email that goes out, or is there a task that gets assigned to the rep, right? Those sort of if-then rules can be set up within Zomentum, and I think towards the end of the call session, I'm going to showcase a very high level demo of how automations can help you as an organization by using Zomentum.
Okay, that's great, because I was just going to ask, are you going to show us some of those examples at a later point?
Yes, I will.
Perfect, perfect. Nancy, what's a common mistake you see some companies make when they first start implementing sales automation, and how can they avoid it?
Do you want one, or because I've got a few?
Definitely a few.
I would say that
I might let Nelson actually Nancy, why don't you answer it, and then Nelson, why don't you answer it too, because you might have different perspectives on this, which would be great to hear.
Yeah, so I would say one of the biggest mistakes that is made is not fully mapping out the journey of the automations. So we were just talking about the if and thens type of scenarios. And so a lot of the times what I see happen is someone will build out an entire workflow and then not take it piece by piece to make sure that it actually works, or come up with the scenarios where you would need the ifs and thens aspects of it. The other thing is, if you just let the automation go without any human intervention, those are also some of the mistakes that I see happen. And so for the purposes of avoiding those mistakes, I say map out what that journey looks like, map out those processes. There's excellent tools like Lucid Charts, or there's a few others where you can map out the flow of everything without having it in the system to begin with. And then you're able to then see where are going to be some bottlenecks that we may come up with. What are some alternative scenarios that we need to prepare for? And start small when it comes to testing testing those out. Don't just build an automation and then send it out to your entire email list or anything along those lines. Make sure that it is actually functioning all the way through, including all of those scenarios that have come up or that would come up, and then go from there. And one of the ways that I like to do that is by asking myself all of the questions that I would expect a prospect to ask or to go through. What are the issues that they're going to run into, or what are some of the things that may come up? And so by initially starting to prepare that before you even go into any kind of automation, that would help to avoid a lot of those problems.
Okay, I love it. That was actually great. Nelson,
Yeah.
what's your take?
Yeah, so I'll give you a very tiny example here, right? So when MSPs or our our prospective customers sign up for Zomentum, so we have a simple piece like a PSA integration, right? Now, our suggestion is wait until you set up your onboarding call with us. Let the experts handle that for you and help you set that integration up. Now, there are a lot of people who are inquisitive who would like to kind of set that up by themselves, right? And that's where the problem started, right? They set up that integration, right, without cleaning up their broken processes first, right? Now, what happens is once the integration is set up, all those broken processes flows into your existing workflow, right? So we have our onboarding process, which basically has our rule set up, right? That lets you preview the outcome before going live in terms of that integration. So you catch bad triggers before they hit the live customers or the actual customers of yours, right? That's how you can basically avoid this entire thing. So wait, heal the broken processes, and then set up those workflow automations.
I love that, because that's another thing is once you get too many automations going, it can get very clunky, and that's for sure something that you got to like see through and make sure that it's also a streamlined process within itself and that it's not too clunky or impersonal.
Exactly.
Very, very true. Very true. Now, Nelson, I got another question for you actually on that. Because of your role, you probably have to deal with the marketing team from time to time. And I know, listen, I've been in marketing my entire life. I know the love, hate, sales team, they love marketing and they hate marketing, and marketing loves sales and they hate sales. And it's always this war back and forth. So how can automated workflows help to improve collaboration and communication between the sales and the marketing team?
Yeah. So, think of it this way, right? So you're saving up a chunk of your productive time, right? So instead of having to have those back and forth of marketing and sales calls, right, to understand as to what processes can be set up, sales automations or marketing automations can fill that entire bridge, right? So that's a time saver first, right? And having a really productive sales automation workflow basically automates the entire sales process for you, right? So all you depending on the marketing team is just for your lead inflow. Apart from that, right? So let's just say, for example, if a lead flows into your system, right? You probably might, without an automation, you probably might wait for your rep to go ahead and send out your first email, wait a couple of days, and then send out your second or third email. Now, using sequencing, right, that can be automated completely. And in fact, I use it myself, right? Without even reaching out to the customers. Out of 10, at least I get 7 demo meetings on a daily basis, or I would say on a weekly basis, right? That's purely because of sequencing. And that's how automation saves the entire, like, I would say, productive time of an organization.
Love it. Now, I know you've said this word like 3 times in there, the word time savings. So Nancy, beyond just time saving, what are some of the less obvious benefits of using smart workflows in a sales process?
Well, I think, to piggyback off of what Nelson was saying, the level of communication that you can have is one of those things, right? So being able to set up automations where you're communicating across departments when something is happening or as a trigger is triggered. And so that's one of the ways that you gain a lot of benefit. And as you were saying, a lot of the times sales departments and marketing departments, they clash, they blame each other for certain things. And so to avoid some of that, having those workflows set up so that when something happens that involves both or all three departments now bringing in your operations is one benefit that you can also leverage when it comes to automations. So not just internal or external, I would say, but more so internal communication as well. But beyond that, I would say that one of the other benefits that you don't really see is the fact that there's consistency behind having that automation. And so that becomes incredibly important because, as we know in the sales process, it's in the follow up. It's in the follow up. And so making sure that you're not losing any kind of communications that are happening, or that you have a catch all system in order to be able to also automate some of that may fall off. Consistency becomes key, especially when it comes to having that consistency across the entire sales funnel and each of those process and steps that you have to take to move somebody from, let's say, discovery all the way to closure.
Yeah.
Okay. Dumping somebody from an MQL to an SQL.
Right. Exactly. And then moving them through that funnel within itself anyway.
Yeah.
So Adam, it's automation is not just about speed, right? That's the perception that we have, right, in today's world, because automations basically improve consistencies. It helps you measure the the ROI, and it also onboards new reps faster, right? Because in Zomentum, you can track every automated action. You can see exactly how each workflow is impacting any sales related activity, right?
Yeah. And so it keeps that level of consistency, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I love that. Actually, Nelson, in kind of that same vein there, can you how can a sales team use if then rules to manage and prioritize their leads more effectively?
Yeah. So you use something called as lead scoring, at least that's an example that I might want to bring to the table, right? Or activities such as a trigger to auto assign hot leads or to your top reps, or to the ones who can close faster, right? In Zomentum, you can set that rule. So if you score a lead score of more than, let's say, 80, right, that lead can automatically be assigned to a certain rep, all right, in the organization. So we call that as a round robin system, right? Not fully implemented, but then we have a workaround. We can set that up wherein the deal can be auto assigned to a certain rep.
So how can that be applied to an MSP? Does that same workflow exist for MSPs?
It's the same. The platform, the product is the same. Let it be for an MSP or for anybody. It's for the sales team, right? So that's what we're talking about.
Okay. That's interesting. So what are some examples of triggers and actions that could be used to automate and follow up processes for like right after a sales call for an MSP?
I'll give you an example, right? So right after you close a deal, so there could be some amount of paperwork that goes out to your customers. Let's just say, for example, a non-disclosure agreement, all right, or a standard contract that's created in Zomentum, right, or a certain contract that goes out. Can I just share my screen? I just want to show this part of it because it's
for sure.
important, right? Give me just a second.
So you're going to give us some examples. Is that what you're looking for?
Exactly. So I'm just
nice.
The other side.
Examples of triggers and actions. That would be very good. Very good.
All right. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
All right. So with regards to how this can impact, where you can simply head over to the settings tab here, right? Or we have something on the sales automation here, right? Using sales automation, I can automatically send out a certain document. Let's just say, for example, if you're sending out, you win a deal, all right, deal one, and you set up a trigger saying that when the document, right? So obviously, the deal is won when you win an opportunity or when you win a quote, right? So you update a certain document. You come down, select the document, and select the trigger as updated. Add an action, right? Or in fact, add a filter group saying that if, let's say, the status of the document is turned to, let's say, one, right? In this case, I want a certain action to be automated. That action could, in this case, would be Alan. Yes, you will ask you. I will take your question. Oh, I think Alan raised his hand. Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
All right, so
hey, Alan, really quick, Alan, if you want to drop that in the chat box, whatever your question might be, you're welcome to, and we can look at it there and answer.
Sure. So as mentioned, so there's a standard document that goes out to your customer, like an NDA or anything, like for a contract or anything. So that document has to be uploaded into your Zomentum's document library, and I will create a certain document automatically. So that comes under the action part of it, and I'll go ahead and create it. So what I would do essentially here is I will select that document. Example, if this is that document, right? I'll select it. I go on to the next option. The title can be anything. In this case, I'm using non-disclosure agreement. The document type could be anything. And if you could see the client details along with the address, the recipient, the opportunity it's tied up to, right? All those things are automatically captured along with the option for them to sign off on it. Now, the moment I hit activate here, the moment, so whenever I win a quote, an NDA is automatically sent out to your customer along with the customer's details, right? Along with the option for them to go ahead and sign off on the document, and it comes back to you. So you don't have to wait for another step to be manually done. Instead, this is automated, right?
So you do that with the trigger of this. This is a one opportunity. Is that correct?
Yes. Right. And talking about if and then conditions, right? So, I mean, I could have saved it for towards the end of the call, but here we go, right? So I do have, I'll delete this one, right? And I can also add conditions here, right? And here, right? So let's just say if the document has changed to one, and if the margin, right, if it's less than, let's say 20% or 20% margin, right? You want somebody internally to look at this particular document, probably, right? So I'll change this first, right? So for example, if an opportunity is created, right, and let's add a complete new filter altogether, and the opportunity, the margin, or let's go for anything. Let's say the grand total, right, or no. So I'll go with the margin itself. So if the margin percentage, right, if it's is less than 30%, right, you want some other action to be triggered. And you can also add an and functionality, right? And if an annual revenue of that particular opportunity is more than, let's say, $5,000, right, you want an action to be triggered. So those sort of things can be created or using sales automations, right? And I hope this answers the question.
No, yeah, this totally answers the question.
And I just also want to point out that it's also a great example in terms of what we were talking about earlier in keeping things consistent. And so that allows you to also put in security measures within your own sales team to make sure that you're not dropping below your margins, or that an estimator or whatever is going out that may not be the right amount. So I think that's a great way to show that as well.
And in fact, when I head over to the email template section, right, I have an option, or not, I'm sorry, it's under the preference section, right? I have an option to set up the markups and margins, the default expiry dates of the documents. And when I go to the notifications, this is the best part, right? You get to choose as to how often your customers get reminded regarding your emails, like, in terms of the opportunities that's sent out, like, right? And you don't miss out on those. Every alternate day, there is a document, there's a reminder that goes out to the customer. And not just this, and this is one of my favorite bit, right? So I head over to something called as pipeline. So we have something called as the pipeline in Zomentum. This is basically where you would see all of your opportunities based on different stages inside of Zomentum. And, there is something called as, pipelines. Under the pipelines, I have something called as deal stages. So there is something called as assigned routing age. So let's just say if I want some action to be taken on a certain opportunity, if it's created and no activity been actioned upon for more than, let's say, 3 days, right? A trigger is automatically sent out to the sales rep saying that, hey, there is no activity on this particular opportunity. Why don't you go touch base with your customer, right? So this shows up the routing age. Can you see this? I know it's not the right word to use, but then it really, encourages the sales rep to kind of go ahead and start having some amount of activity on this particular opportunity.
So if you were to send
Sorry.
Yeah.
I was saying the win is in the follow-up. So having something like that, it definitely saves a lot of possible lost wins. And so for sure, that's something that is great to have that.
Exactly. Yeah. How many times have we sent an email and forgot that we, just forgot to follow up after the email because in your mind you're thinking, okay, they'll reply, so I can push that out. So this is that kind of keep you on track kind of thing. I like that.
Exactly. So
how do you test something like this to make sure that it works? I mean, what do you do? A/B testing, or like what's that process look like?
Well, I for one like love to speak in layman terms, right? So it's pretty easy. You just add yourself as a client, test it out within your own self first. If that's functioning, then roll it out, right? Test it out on different stages at different levels within yourselves at the first place, right? And that's exactly how we also kind of encourage our clients or our MSPs when we onboard them. So let's do a test first, and then let's go live.
So they can see exactly how the process works all the way through from start to end.
Exactly. So even now, when our MSPs we onboard them, we help them create a document by themselves. Well, first send it to themselves, see exactly how the client is also seeing. Like, for example, on a demo with me today, if you're a prospect of Zomentum, and I'm demoing it. At the end of the demo, I share that document over to you. Like, for example, if I've got a list of proposals or contracts that I work on, right? I simply select either one of those, right? Let's just say if it's a proposal, and I share that with the customer to see, and I want them to know as to how exactly their end client would also see that particular document that you're sending across to them, right? And if you can give me a second, I'll probably try and share that with you guys as well, so that you also see as to how a proposal looks at when an MSP sends it across to their clients. Right.
Sure. You know what? Is it going to be a minute? I can ask Nancy another question.
You can. I'm almost there.
No, if you have it, go for it. I didn't know how long it was going to be, so that's great.
I didn't want to hijack your session, Adam. Sorry.
No, I appreciate it.
Great. I'm adding this on the chat box for anyone to have a look. And by the way, the moment your customer opens the document, you get an email reminder, right, saying that the document was opened at every stage. Like, even if there's a comment added, you get an email reminder, every email notification, by the way.
And this is a proposal.
This is a proposal.
Okay. So just a question here. You have the option to where the trigger could say, just an example, hey, the client looked at the proposal 4 times in the last 24 hours. So maybe a sales rep should call them within the next hour.
Exactly. Even those automations can be set up. I mean, I've had customer who had about 80 different automations set up into Zomentum, right? 80 different ones, and all of them working like completely fine.
Wow.
That makes me wonder, Nelson, how many automations can you have in place with Zomentum?
That's the best part, Nancy. Um, the market sets a limitation, but the Zomentum doesn't, right? So there are no limits as of today.
Okay,
Like
automate
a
everything.
like a standard, a quoting tool or a CRM for that matter sets a limitation on automations. Like so, you pay for 20 automations, right? Anything above that is what you pay extra. But Zomentum doesn't do that. It's inclusive of your package.
So Nancy had mentioned earlier a company like Lucid Flowcharts or Lucid Charts or whatever the name is. I've actually used them. And I love that because I can actually go in and create the way that I want the chart to work, the workflow to work, and then I
Mhm.
can hand that over to somebody and I can say, "Hey, make this happen." Um, is do you guys do you have something like that too, or no? It's just got to be written down in your brain or whatever, and then you go through and you make it happen.
Well, we don't have it, but then there's a workaround to it. So So Zomentum doesn't say no to anything, but then that's the way we are. Like, we can literally build out automations on. I mean, it's limited to functionalities in Zomentum.
Right.
That's the catch, right? But then what you're saying is something like a lucid chart that we don't compete with. But then if required, we can try to set. So we have a pipeline that you just viewed, right? So you can basically have something like that into different stages. So those can be set up. So we also have project pipelines as well, right?
Oh, project pipelines. Can you
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about that?
It's just a view, nothing more than that.
Oh, just a view. Okay. Okay. So you can see what's going on.
Exactly. So I can simply head over to the dashboard, right? And I can toggle between sales and project or any pipeline. So that's where I shared here, right? So you can also have multiple pipelines into Zomentum.
So
I love
we
that
just got
you're
a
bringing
question
this
here.
up.
Oh, go ahead.
Nope. Before you do, I'm going to jump in. I love the fact that you're bringing this up because one thing that a lot of MSPs don't realize, and I see that QBR pipeline and project pipeline, and so I wanted to point that out that the QBRs, right? So any of your account management motions, it's still part of sales, although it may not be fully, the initial sales process. But at the end of the day, it is still a sales process within itself. And so being able to manage that also within a pipeline and have automations built in for that motion is something that can also save a lot of time for your account managers or your VCIOs, whoever may be in that role that is bringing up all of the projects that a client may have or may need going forward, especially if you're doing this in a proactive manner and being able to bring that to realize this client has X amount of projects that they may need this coming year. They have outdated machines. And so we are on a 3-year refresh cycle and we'll need to replace those machines. Being able to have that far in advance and be able to have automations built in so that you don't have to remind yourself about it is a tremendous help. So I just wanted to
I
point that
love
out
that
that
example.
that's something that's really cool to be able to have those different types of pipelines within this and be able to automate that as well. So not just new sales, but also projects and anything that comes from QBRs.
Sure.
So before you shut your screen down there, Patrick just messaged and he wants to know, is there a documented workflow through the tool?
No, but then we can build that for you.
Okay. Um,
I'll reach out to. I'm sorry. What was Patrick's name?
Patrick,
Yeah,
he just did it in the chat there, so you can see his.
I'll reach out to Patrick.
Okay, Patrick, you get a one-on-one demo, buddy. It's coming your way.
Yes, sir.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna be honest. Is there anything else you want to show us while you're in there? Because I find it
Sure.
interesting.
I mean, Jibu Matthews is one of our oldest customers of Zomentum, right? I've worked with him, and he kind of added on the chat. What can we talk about sales pipeline? Yes, we can have multiple stages in the sales pipeline, right? It's not just your traditional old CRM pipeline here, wherein what you can also do is the moment you hover your mouse cursor on the revenues part of it, Zomentum gives you a holistic view of all of the commercials involved in that particular opportunity. So without even clicking on that opportunity, if you want to know as to what's the recurring revenue of it, right, that can be pulled up. What's the one-time fee? What's the weekly, annually, semi-annually? That can be pulled out. And yes, you can drag and drop opportunities from one stage to the other, right? You can also add activities directly from here itself instead of you clicking on that particular client's account or the opportunities account. I can simply schedule a meeting with this customer just by clicking on this, right? I don't have to go into the account section, right? And yes, this is pretty on a high level overview. But Jibu, if
Yeah.
if you have any questions, you know my email. Just drop me an email. I'll get on a call with you.
If somebody's been a Zomentum customer for 4 years, is it worth going through another onboarding process?
It's if some processes are broken, it's
I mean,
definitely
4 years ago, I'm sure you guys are not the same company that you were 4 years ago.
we definitely have evolved a lot, right? So yeah, I would suggest yes, schedule a session with us. We would be glad to kind of walk you through as to what we've built on. Like, and the best part is I'm not sure if we covered this, Adam, but then you can also collect payments on Zomentum directly. Like, you don't have to go for making monthly payments for another Zomentum for another payment collection portal. It's right here. You can also, if there is an option, you can also pass over the transaction fees onto your customers as well, right? So
Oh,
there's
nice.
beautiful
So
thing
when you
that,
send that
yeah,
when you send that invoice out, they can pay directly through Zomentum.
exactly. And that's what I'm saying. There's some beautiful things that we're building. And in about 2 months' time, this entire quote builder is going to change, right? And there's really good features that's going to be that's going to be launched, right? So we are excited. We want you to kind of be on the lookout too.
I can tell by the excitement in your voice, Nelson. I can tell you're excited.
Well, I'm completing 5 years next month. So yeah, I love the product though. Yes.
That's great. That's
Nelson,
great. Well,
when it
go
comes
ahead.
to Zomentum and seeing as having a customer has been with you guys for 4 years, may not know the evolution of the product. It happens in every industry, every software, right? Where you get new renditions and you don't always keep up with what's new and how the new functionality can be leveraged and things like that. So do you guys have any training programs or anything that you do where you can show immediately, the new features and possibly how to leverage those?
Yes, the answer is yes. We are just an email away, right? Reach out to us. We will talk to you about what's coming. And in fact, our public roadmap is already here, right? So you just head over to the what's new section. You would see
Oh, okay.
as to what was released, what's coming up, right? What are the updates in terms of Zomentum payments, what's coming new, or what's coming soon in terms of the Grow platform, right? All of the updates put together and in one place as well. So
Now, do you have webinars on this as well? Like what's new? Do you have webinars on training and items like that?
not currently, Adam, but then that's on our roadmap. We are going to implement that. Yes.
Okay. Patrick dropped his email address in there for you so you can find it, but he also would like to have a cold beer while you give him a demo. Just throwing that out there.
Sure, not me, but yeah,
I'd like a whiskey.
Kentucky.
I'll join if I get a whiskey.
I'll get one JD with Tennessee as well.
Since we're on here, Nelson, I'd like to ask something when it comes to personalization. So I'm huge when it comes to leveraging all of these tools, but making sure that the human connection remains, since especially in sales, that is the huge part of that. And so can you show us a little bit about how you can personalize even through automation? Like I know that I love to send, let's say an email to follow up with someone after I've met them at an event. And I want to make sure that it says the event that I met them at and things like that. So adding a little bit of personalization that's not just their name. Is there a way for us to do that within Zomentum?
Sure. There is something called as merge tags that we have, right? Which helps you to kind of automatically capture customers' information without you having to do it manually anymore, right? So this requires some level of customization, and I'll tell you how. That's where the human intervention comes in. So there is something called as custom fields that we have here, right? Using which you can basically, let's say, if you have a contact level, right? So you head over here, add a custom field saying that, let's say event, add an event name, right? Add a field type. It could be a text. Add the name of the event. I would say, let's go for networking, right? And I'll save it, right? So using merge tags, I can pick up that particular event's name on a certain email or a document and send it across to them, right? I can simply come here, head over to the merge tag section. Sorry, give me a second. The images are covering it up. Give me a minute here. Right, there we go. No, it's at a client or a contact level, but then you can, so there are custom fields that can be added. The moment it's added, let's just say, for example, if this is a custom field, right? Now, I can add this and add the event's name it's going to be automatically populated here, right? Using this merge tag, you can go ahead and reference your conversations as to where you met them and, add the insight of what the conversation was all about.
Perfect. That's beautiful, especially if you meet a lot of people and that it's hard. It's rough to send 100 emails saying the same thing. And so just adding a little bit of a personal touch, just enough, I think it makes a world of a difference.
Exactly.
So,
you
what kind of notifications?
Yeah.
What kind of notifications do you send back to the MSP? Like, they don't want to be notified every 30 seconds somebody clicks on the email. So, what kind of notifications can be utilized there to help them in that process?
I mean, it's pretty standard, like the ones that I showed you earlier, right? So there are some standard notifications that can be set up, right? And using sales automation, you can also set up custom notifications, right? The standard notification starts with a reminder in terms of before the upcoming tasks, right? On a daily basis,
Okay.
you get an email with a list of tasks that's assigned to you, right? Or email notifications come in saying that like the same thing, right? About before upcoming meetings, right? Daily summary that goes out weekly and daily. You can choose as to how you can set that up. Whenever someone opens or comments on the document, someone views the document for the first time, or someone cancels a signature, and the documents are in a draft stage for more than 3 days, right? And so there's so many other ways that notifications can be triggered, but using sales automations is the best part, right? Sales automation, there's no limit to how you want to notify your customer, right? So that can be achieved using sales automation itself. I know I think I have hijacked most of your session, Adam. So
listen, Nelson, you hijacked it and you took it over. But you know what? I'm glad you did, because it was very, very good, and we got some interaction there actually that's interested in looking at more. But I do have a few more questions, but you know what? I don't have to answer them. They wouldn't make sense to be answered right now anyway. So so I do appreciate what you've showed us. Now, I've got a couple questions regarding that as well. Are you implementing, or will you be implementing, and how will you be implementing AI within Zomentum later on?
Oh, okay. Can I hijack a session another time? Like,
I have more
Anytime.
questions too, since
Really,
this is a
this is
hijack. Let's just dive into it. Let's go for it. So I have a little bit more questions in terms of when it comes to managing a sales team. What are some of the ways that, let's say, a sales manager is able to see the level of activity that the sales team is doing? If they're falling behind, can they jump in and help? And because this is an automation webinar, are any of those are you able to automate any of those so that the sales manager doesn't have to constantly monitor, but is able to see if there's any of his salespeople in trouble or anything along those lines?
great. I'm going to answer Adam's question first, and next, Nancy, I'll answer yours, right? So, how are we leveraging AI, Adam? Is we have something called as the AI document builder, right? A full-fledged AI document builder. So you can go ahead and create with AI with prompts that you do on a regular, on a daily basis. So let's just say there are some ready-made prompts, but then you can also do a custom prompt as well, right? I would say develop an in-depth proposal for an IT consulting service for our client tech advisors, covering strategy, development, technology, assessments, implementation support, and ongoing advisory. Include case studies and success stories as well. This is a prompt, right? And I'll simply go ahead and add that. So what's the proposal? Is that a proposal or a contract? I would say it's a proposal. Let's say if Zomentum is the client, right? And I'm the recipient, I'll go on to the next one. So what the AI builder does right now is it gives me, it asks me a couple of questions. What specific areas of our infrastructure? I'm going to skip all of this. It's okay. I don't have to answer. You can still answer, but then I want to spend time on that. But it gives me about 5 different sections. I can also have multiple sections as well. And we can go ahead and generate a document. It just takes about a couple of seconds, like about 30 seconds or something. But then a full-fledged proposal gets created for you to completely customize it as well, right? And go ahead and start working on, or in fact, send it across to your client, right? So the image generation takes a couple of minutes, but here's your proposal.
Oh, very nice. So to be clear, though, no AI is implemented into the workflows at this point.
No, not in the workflows.
Okay. There's an opportunity there for you.
Exactly.
That might be a little dangerous right now. Let's start slow. Let's start
This is
slow.
great, though.
Let's start
This is
with
actually
some automations.
this is great.
Right. For somebody who's just starting off as an MSP, right? Like I'm just giving an example. They can either choose to use our templates. We've got some really nice looking global templates that we give our clients, or they could use the AI document builder and build a template out for themselves. And as far as Nancy's question is concerned, Nancy, yes, we do offer, we do have a module called as a sales activity module, wherein a manager can also monitor the activities of his team members, right? So I have different filters here, like, if I want to see as to how many meetings were scheduled, or if I want to see if there's any task that's based on different stages, like, if it's overdue, or if it's, if it's in the future. All those type of activities can be triggered and monitored as well, right? I hope this answers your question.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, you've answered my questions as well, and I also know we're coming close to time, so with
I'm
that,
not talking share. Fine, I'm sorry.
with that, I don't want to go. I don't want to go any further. But if an MSP is on here today and they're interested in that demo, what's the process? How are they going to do this?
Well, reach out to my email, which is nelson@zomentum.com, or we could also use my link to my calendar, which I'll share shortly before the session ends, and then you can book a slot on my calendar.
And I think we had a quick poll I'll throw up here. I realize I just said throw up. Okay. Sorry. I will put it out there. That's much better. Anyway, there's the poll. You're welcome to fill it out. We would love to hear your feedback. That would be great as well. That'll help us all. So, which part of your sales process do you spend the most manual time on? We taking bets, or it's pretty much it already is activated?
I'm curious. I'm going to say it's follow-ups and reminders. Don't let me influence your choices, people.
Maybe it should be follow-ups and reminders.
Right?
So Nelson, there's your teaching point on how to do follow-ups and reminders and why the importance behind it.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, well, this was it was great. It was great chatting with you. As always, I've chatted with you a few times in the past, and it's great chatting with you, Nancy. It's always good to see you, and thank you very much for coming out and hanging out with us today on this webinar. And we hope you learned something. And we do highly suggest to go back and listen to the other ones.
Perfect.
What are the results of the poll? Oh,
There they
proposal,
are.
quote, and creation. Yep.
You were wrong.
I was wrong. I was wrong.
Zomentum is coming after you.
All right, guys.
Love
Well,
it.
thank you very much, and goodbye.
Alrighty. Goodbye,
Thanks,
guys.
everyone.